Get. Whoa! Get up. Alright. Yeah, hi everyone. It is me, Stormy here. And today I'm going to talk about how I feel I don't get any Onlook for being a weather worker. Now, I know some of you folks are going to say, well, Stormy, how could anyone Onlook you for being a weather worker when you only oversee bad weather? Well, I don't not only oversee bad weather, but I also oversee good weather too. But then again, when you're a weather worker, you don't get any Onlook. You just get folks that are unhappy with whatever weather it happens to be. So if it's raining, there's going to be folks out there that are not unhappy that it's raining. And if it happens to have to be a thunder lightning rainstorm, which don't guilt that on me, that's God's call once again too, folks are unhappy with that as well. All right. So let's say you're in fall or in winter and you get snow. Well, there's going to be folks who don't like snow, and they'll bitch too much about that. A snowstorm, well, they'll bitch even more about that. So no, you can't win. And then, and then after that, now I don't have, windstorms. Yeah, folks don't like windstorms either. And gales and twisters are weather or bad weather. Yes, they are. They they are weather. They're not a land catastrophe. But folks are unhappy with that. So no, I don't get any Onlook for being a weather worker. But then again, keep in mind, working for God, even if you don't get any Onlook from anyone, which you should, but keep in mind, there has to be some folks out there that Onlook me for being a weather worker. There has to be. I mean, think of it. It's not me that's truly doing the weather. It's God. All right? He just works through me and with me to do it. So it's God that's doing all the weather, not me. So the thanks should go to God, not to me. Now, when God picked me to be a weather worker, and the funny thing is, no one has a back saga about how I became a weather worker or how I got chosen to be a weather worker. That's something that Hallmark didn't come up with, so someone out there wants to come up with it, they can. I was chosen by God to be a weather worker. But there is no back saga to how it happened. All right? I'm sorry for all that clearing the throat, but that happens when I do films. I have little no run or lead over it. So, and everyone also asks me, well, Stormy, why were you behaving badly when you first started in the beginning of Rainbow Bright's Fairway, Rainbow Bright for Life? Well, because sadly, Lucifer made me believe that I wasn't getting any Onlook as a weather worker. And he made me believe, he slayed me into believing, and I chose to believe, that Rainbow Bright was getting all the Onlook for being a cast worker, or whatever you call someone who handles cast and brightness and light. But I know that's not true, all right? And God told me, and Jesus told me that a lot of folks Onlook me for being a weather worker, all right? And I hear folks saying, we want warm weather now. Well, sadly, God hasn't gotten the sun and the earth near to each other yet for there to be, warm or hot days. That won't happen until at least the 5th month going into the 6th month. So, You're just going to have to deal with it, I guess, until now. Sorry about that, you know. Now, I know there's folks on the other side of the world that already went through their spring, already went through their summer, and they're heading into their fall, into their winter. Yeah, so that means my work isn't done. I gotta bring winter to the other side of the earth. You know, the side of the earth where the southern land is at, where New Zealand's at, where some of these other smaller southeast side lands are at. You know, some of them are, you know, that side of the earth, you know. And then and then don't forget about the sides of the earth that are cold all year round. Well, they're going to be cold all year round. And the sides of the earth that are warm or hot all the time are going to be warm all the time. Now, you know what also kind of pisses me off a little is that you got this world warming, world heating folks that say, oh, winters used to be cold in the past. There wasn't no funks, there was no up and down. It was cold from the 12th month until the 30th month. Well, yeah, but you folks only kept a reckoning of how hot and how cold the winters were going back to the 7 between 100 YLs. Before then, you weren't really keeping a reckoning of everything, was you? You know? So you gotta deal with those folks that they're never happy, you know, nothing's never good enough for them. But anyway, I think I get Onlook as being a weather worker, you know. So I believe that I do have Onlook for being a weather worker. And if you folks that are never happy with the weather, what the weather is doing at a given time, that's too bad. Take it up with God. I only work for him. All right? He's the one that's making the good weather. And sometimes Lucifer likes to make bad weather happen. Or land catastrophes that aren't really weather to say. They're not really weather. So that's it. Thank you to listening to a weather worker bitch or rant or whatever you want to call it. And don't forget to share this film, thumb up this, like this film, playlist, and beloved this film. And I'll see you later.